Well, the Colts season is over. It's finally here, everybody. And did Troy Aikman, did he even know the Colts were playing in that game? We're going to talk about the Colts game on this episode. Let's get into it.
Watford 3 on the way. Oh!
All right. So, everybody, we watched the Colts and we watched what happened in the game. It was spectacular. It was a really well-played game by both teams. And, you know, I don't really like to rip on, well, I do like to rip on other fan bases. I don't like the Steelers fan base, and I hate the Patriots fan base, and there are many. I don't like Raiders fans either. So, but I will say this. I watched the interview with that coach, D'Amico Ryan, after the game. What a class act that guy is. I mean, he has a bright future. He just seems like a really, really great guy. He's like one of those guys that's just like impossible to hate, you know? And then CJ Stroud, as I saw him interviewed after the game, I thought, I mean, this guy, he said everything right. I didn't see him be like a real hot dog during the game. My hats go off to them, and I don't even have a hat on. So really great game by the Colts too, and everybody really ragging on, you know, Minshew or Goodson or Steichen on that last play. And it's like all you can really say is he was completely wide open. I mean, I heard him say they practiced that play in practice like a bunch of times over and over. So nobody could feel more worse than those guys do. And I guess when it's all said and done, I think it's like a 3-foot putt. You know, you walk up to a 3-foot putt and sometimes you're going to miss it. You know, every tour player, 3 putts 1.4 times per 18 holes. So it happens. It happens at the worst of times. That drop couldn't have came at the worst time, but we got to look at the overall. I mean, the first half of that game, I mean, what was Minshew, like 4 of 10 for like 45 yards in the first half? I mean, our defense hung strong. And that's another thing. I mean, I hear tons of people really ragging on Gus Bradley too, and maybe he will get fired. Maybe this will be the end of the road for him. Maybe the Bears will fire Eberflus and he'll, hey, I mean, Matt Eberflus, come back to Indianapolis. I did like that guy. I mean, we had a connected defense, maybe a little bit better when he was there, but everybody ragging on Gus Bradley. This guy's not going to blitz all the time. And for the players we had in our secondary, I think we did a pretty decent job. I mean, we faced a quarterback in that game, CJ Stroud, who is 10 times, a million times more talented than any player on our team. I mean, at the quarterback position, he was doing things that were just unbelievable. That being said, it's like Troy Aikman, I mean, come on, give the Colts some credit. I mean, he just like never said one good thing about the Colts or Minshew, or, I mean, he maybe said a few nice things about Steichen, but it's like, come on, Troy. This guy, he's bitter in a way. But it was really a great season for the Colts. I mean, this is like one piece of the puzzle for Shane Steichen, and hopefully we can get this train rolling with Anthony Richardson. Now we have tons and tons and tons of stuff to talk about in the offseason, but Anthony Richardson has to do something to improve himself. I mean, if he comes into next year with the exact same type of attitude he had this year, you're going to have the exact same results. I mean, that's all there is to it. But let's break down the game, the Colts game. Let's go through some of the stats. And the Colts got this game. At times, I really felt like it was going to get away from the Colts. Jonathan Taylor came out in the second half, really got pushing that ball down the field. Yeah, and you know, like, I mean, some of these stats are key, but I mean, I don't really even want to go through all these stats. It really, I mean, at this point, it does not really matter that much. The biggest stat to me was like, I mean, 188 yards rushing for Taylor. And I mean, he looked wore out at the end of the game. Got his face shield, it seemed like, was just all damaged. I mean, I think his heel must have been bothering him, and then came back out and hyped himself up and went back out there. I mean, he's a warrior guy, and I mean, I kind of would have liked to see him just throw a sweep to him or something like that on that last play. But, you know, there were a lot of plays in this game that could have happened really either way. CJ Stroud is not a guy who's going to throw many interceptions. I mean, that was evident in that game. It's like, man, he can really throw the ball like 40 yards, just a pinpoint accurate right in the guy's hands. That one pass he threw where he's on his back foot and threw it, that was a real backbreaker for the Colts. But this season is kind of bittersweet because we played all season with a backup quarterback. I mean, I love the Colts, but we got to be realistic. Look, we're Colts fans. We've had really high-level play. We've had Peyton Manning in our building. We've had Andrew Luck in our building. I mean, there are tons of teams out there that have never watched two guys like that play on their team. So we know how far we are from winning a championship right now and what it really takes, like that fine-tuning at the very end to get like that Von Miller or the player, you know, that's going to be that game changer in the end, like how Bob Sanders really helped us win a championship. So we know that. We're not like Jets fans out there. They only look how terrible they are. They thought they were going to win the Super Bowl. They only won 6 games, and not just because Rodgers got hurt. I mean, my point is our roster is better than the Jets, but we got to be more realistic to realize it's going to take some time. If Anthony Richardson has a really good season next year, and I could almost see, I mean, just from seeing his potential this year, I mean, I could see him developing, being a quick study to be in the playoffs next year with the Colts and this team, just with his running ability, if he can stay healthy. But these are the building blocks that we got to be looking at now going into this offseason. But it's, it's bittersweet. The game, half the game, the whole time I was thinking, this is probably going to be the last time I ever watch Gardner Minshew play. I hope it is. Minshew, I love that guy. It's just impossible to hate that guy because he's so laid back and he's like this hipster doofus kind of guy, riding around in this van like a super big southern hippie. So, and everybody knows what a deadhead I used to be. So I appreciate that type of thing. So, I've heard a lot of videos of people ranting about the Colts or ranting about that last play or ranting about this or that. But you know what? I'm going to watch the rest of the playoffs. Let's look on the bright side. The Colts could have won this game narrowly. Even though they put up a good fight in the game yesterday, they ended the season with dignity. Now, they could have went to like Miami next week or played the Browns and got absolutely shellacked in the playoffs. And that would be your last memory, like, oh my God, like we went out there in that playoff game. We thought we'd have a chance and we got beat like 48-0. But maybe that was not going to happen. But in my mind, it's like that very well could happen. I don't really think we weren't a playoff team, and we proved that by losing that game. And we proved that because we threw a backup quarterback, threw a pass to a backup running back, and it didn't work out. And that's just how it goes. So until next time, stay classy out there, Colts fans, and I'll be making a ton of Colts videos during the offseason. And that's the crazy thing about starting this channel. I mean, during the season, and I was actually talking to Justin about this, is like, or maybe he was saying on his show, it's like during the season, it feels like there's so much stuff to talk about, but sometimes week to week, there's less stuff to talk about than there is the speculation of the draft and the trades and how we need to build this team, because we need corners and we need a safety. Nick Cross came up and made some really nice tackles in the run game. But we do need corners and safeties. We need just a couple of like pros to come in there and just stabilize it a little bit. And I mean, something else I want to mention about the Colts, and now I'm rambling, is that, I mean, we lost Leonard this year. You think about it, 2 or 3 years ago, you know, we had Eberflus as our coordinator, and Leonard and Okereke were our top 2 linebackers, and we filled those spots. Franklin and Speed have done a fabulous job of filling in those spots. And the Colts, I mean, overall roster building, Ballard has done well. I just think this year for him was a year, I think he traded away some of those corners and some of that value so that he could see, because this was kind of a rebuilding year. That's just kind of my take on it, that like he wasn't going all in on with Gilmore and more players, because we had a first-year quarterback and we kind of thought the season was going to be a little wishy-washy, and then it ended up, we almost made the playoffs anyway. So until next time, stay classy out there, Colts fans. I'll be talking to you.